Okay, what we got here is a pulling back horse, and we're going to try to help this horse quite a bit. Pulling back is a terrible, terrible habit, and what it comes from is, you can see this horse is, he's skin up all over the place. Skin up nose, skin up head. And what he does, he panics. So we have to teach this horse to control his emotions and stay where we put him. But working with a pulling back horse, especially if they've pulled back and broke a few things, is not the easiest job you'll ever take on, and some of them just don't get fixed. So what we're going to do first, if the pattern of behavior is really established, it just becomes their go-to move, and they will seriously hurt themselves to get away. Claustrophobic, feeling pressure on the pole, all these things play into it, but we really, really, really need to get this horse where this spot under their head and over their head and in front of their shoulders and in front of their eyes is just practically numb. I don't want to say shut down, because I don't want him shut down. What I want is for him to learn to control his emotions enough to where he can feel that pressure on his pole and not freak out. And some of these horses' issues that we run into are extremely, extremely difficult to fix. And you may have to make concessions with this horse in order to keep him from hurting himself. You may not get to tie him up solid for a good long while. So what I'm going to do with this, I flagged him all over. And I just want this, I want him to just kind of just stand here and be okay with things. Now, I'm going to introduce some pull pressure to him to make him go forward off of any kind of pressure that's behind his ears. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to send him around this pole, this little circus pole here. I'm going to send him around. Now I'm just going to hook it on here and pull his pole, just like that. We'll send him the other way. He needs to make a circle around here, he needs to move, and then he needs to shut down and self-regulate. Now I'm going to send him around here. He doesn't get to stop. He has to keep moving. Same rules apply, but he just has to learn another response to stimulus. Now I'm going to put pull pressure on him right here, and I want him to go forward. He went forward, I'll leave him alone. He needs to He needs to go forward when you ask him to go forward. There. And you don't need one of these poles. What you need to do is just bend him tight and pull him across. Put pole pressure on him. Yield that hip and send that shoulder across. There he's. What he did there was he felt that pole pressure, and I got after him a little bit, and his go-to move was to back up. We have to reprogram his mind. And sometimes it's hard to do. Right here. Yeah. Right here. Yeah. And we're looking for just a step. Now we'll bend him. There. Give him a bunch of pets. It's not his fault. It's nobody's fault. It just happened. So I'm going to send this horse past me again, and I'm going to walk off. Send this horse past me again, and I'm going to walk off. Pole pressure. Pole pressure. There. Pole pressure. Now I'm stopped. Yeah. Pet him. Love on him. Now, I'm gonna continue to do this. See him twitching? It's gotta go away. See him jump? See him flinch? That has to go away. All of this. Whatever's causing him problem, and I don't know what it is, but whatever's causing him the problem is buried deep. I'm going to send him around. Forward, forward, always forward. Now this, and he's stopping. He doesn't get to stop. Now I'm going to bend him right there. When a horse is tied up, if I was a tie post and I was touching him here, he'd yield that hindquarters, and then he would walk forward. Now he's going to yield that hindquarters and come forward. Hindquarters, forward. Give him a bet. If they can't yield their hindquarters and step their shoulder across, when they freak out, the only thing in their toolbox that they can do is pull back. And like I said, if they break something a couple of times, that's the only answer they know. Forward, pull pressure. I'm letting him find the end of this rope. And this end of this rope has to teach him. The end of the rope teaches him hindquarters, step forward. And so I'm just standing here. And I'm going to send him across, let him touch the end, hindquarters. We'll wait. I'm going to increase that pull pressure and bring that foot. Good. Now I'll just do it again. Let him find the end of the rope and respond to it different. He found the end. There's the hip. He needs to step forward right there. He did. Give him a pet. Send him out here again. Over and over and over until this is automatic. Right there, he backed up. When he started to back up, I put some pressure on his pole. I want this response. Working with troubled horses is not the same thing as working with blank slates. If we'd have taught this horse how to give and follow a feel, he never would have known that he could pull back, and we wouldn't have to deal with it. He doesn't know what to do with the end of the rope. Standing here loose, he's fine. But when he gets to the end of the rope and it's like that, that has to mean come closer, step forward, not panic. So I got ounces of pull pressure on him right now. I'm going to increase that slowly until he steps forward, and I'm going to give him a pet. I'm going to show him that pull pressure means walk forward, get relief. And there's still no guarantees that this will fix him forever. This is something that you have to chip away at. That time he didn't even tighten up the rope. I'm going to ask him, pull pressure and go forward. He's going to hit the end of the rope, but not very hard. And then he backed up. I want him to step forward, right here. There, just like that. Give him a pat. You see him flinch? Those flinches are the start of figuring out whether he needs to panic and get away or follow that feel. The flinch is just as bad as the pulling back. I'm going to send him around me in full circle. Make him go. Now I'm going to let him feel the end of the rope. I'm going to increase that pull pressure until he steps forward. Then I'm going to pet him. We fixed a few of these, and we've had a few that were so dangerous that we just taught him to stand with the loop thrown over the fence. And this isn't all we're doing with this horse. This is just the part that has really been problematic, and you can tell by the skin spots on his head that he can't feel the end. Tighten that rope up. He gave to it, and I petted him. We'll get him going around here again in another circle, a full circle. The reason I'm sending him around in a circle is just to get his motor running a little bit. Now let him feel the end. There was a step forward. Let him. Now I'm going to walk straight towards the camera. There's going to be jaw pressure and pull pressure on him, and he needs to come forward. Just like that. When a horse pulls back, it's a disconnect between what pull pressure should mean and what pull pressure means to him. It's a trigger. It's a trigger to panic. So we have to concentrate on this by moving him so that he can find the end of this rope. When he finds the end of the rope, there should be an automatic response. Yield the hip and step forward. And this may not be what we teach the horse in the course of regular groundwork, but we're problem solving now. I don't necessarily want a horse to yield its hindquarters and walk forward all the time. We got to throw that kind of out, because I need to teach him an alternate response to pull pressure that causes him to come forward instead of pull back. So we're going to add forward to every hip yield until when he yields his hip, he steps forward. That may cause us trouble under saddle, but it's manageable. But what's not manageable is going on a trail ride or go to a Brandon or go to anything you want to go to, and you have to leave your horse loose in the trailer because you can't tie him up. Well, you might be a long ways away from the trailer when you stop for your sandwich, and you're just going to sit down and eat your sandwich and hold your horse. That's one way of managing pulling back. But there will be a time where that pull pressure trigger hits him, and if he's not thinking full on come forward, it just turns into a wreck. And you can see by all the skid spots on his head that he's been in that wreck. So I'm going to send him around. Forward motion is everything. Forward motion is everything. And anywhere on this circle, if I put that pressure on him where he hit the end of the rope, I want him to do just what he did. See how that rope got really soft? Now I'm going to put pull pressure on him again. There's that forward step. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But this is just a Band-Aid because he's following my body. He's following me. He knows if I'm walking away, he's going to get pull pressure. He don't like pull pressure, so he's just going to walk with me. There, he's stuck, but when he came off of that, that was pull pressure. No different than if he was tied up, except for my body's in the equation. Now, if you have to use a slip ring or a tie ring of some sort, that beats the alternative of not having a horse. That's one of the methods of managing this. So I'm going to bring him up here. And there is a half of a snaffle bit nailed to a telephone pole. And I'm going to bring him in here, and I'm going to put him in this. Where is it? There it is. By sticking that through there, it's kind of hard to do this without a videographer, you know. But this needs to be addressed because there's horses that people say they really love them, but they pull back. Well, it's just sit through there like that. Now, I'm going to change this to just one. I've got the tail of this rope in my hand. And I'm just going to stand here and let that pole talk to him. But I'm still in the equation because I'm still standing here. And we do this with him every day. I've had him for 4 or 5 days. And that's in conjunction with other work. We're bending him and sending him and putting a belly rope on him and doing some other things with him. Trying to get him to where he can control his emotions and not panic. panicking is the biggest thing. And it isn't the tying up. It's his inability to accept stimulus without panicking. And if he wants to interact with that, we let him. And we'll post a few more little videos about this as progress is made or not made. Working with horses that have troubles can be a very interesting situation sometimes, but you have to think before you do. And what worked on most horses won't usually work on the problem horse, because the problem has become a pattern of behavior. Now I'm going to leave him here, and I'm going to take a few steps back so that I'm kind of out of the equation, trying to get him to realize that just standing there is not too bad. But we always work him first before we tie him up. And then we tie him up every day with a slip ring, because right now we're at the managing it stage. And if we never get past the managing it stage, well, it's no worse than any other issue, but we've learned how to deal with it and cope with it. That doesn't mean this is a terrible horse. That just means this horse thinks when it's tied up, it has to pull back. And I'm only about 15 feet away from this horse right now, so I'm basically still in the equation. I'm going to walk away from him, cross my round pin here, and that gate is open. If he takes a step forward, that tie ring's going to put pressure on his jaw, his nose, and his poll. Or he could just stay there and I'll stretch this out to longer and longer times, but I don't just tie him up and start working other horses. Now, there's an example of a horse that's been tied up for about an hour, but that horse don't pull back. This horse has to be treated differently because this horse pulls back. And the only way I know how to fix troubled horses is to find a starting spot and build on it. Well, it's been 23 minutes and he hasn't pulled back when we were working him, and he hasn't pulled back on the fence post. He hasn't stuck near as much. When we first started working him a few days ago, when you moved that hip over and walked off, he'd stick and drag. And we've been working on that stick and drag. He doesn't get to do that. And I really don't care if he ever likes being tied up. The reason that he's in the slip ring is so that he don't hurt himself again. And I don't care if he likes being tied up. But he does have to accept some form of stay where I put you, or we're never going to get the problem even manageable. Just my thoughts on that. Bye.